In this video series, we'll explore essential art fundamentals such as line, shape, and form, along with various related exercises to elevate your drawing skills and hand control, regardless of whether you are using traditional or digital drawing tools. We will start with the basics and proceed step by step. In each video, we will cover a couple of techniques, starting with some common and basic exercises. At the end of these exercises, I will provide you with some fun activities to demonstrate how you can implement these techniques into your practice. The videos will build on one another, and I'm confident that your skills will improve if you practice along. When creating a drawing, we begin with lines to create shapes and forms. So let's start at the very beginning. Lines. There are various types of lines you can use for different purposes, including short, long, thin, thick, horizontal, vertical, diagonal, zigzag, curly, curved, spiral, crisp, textured, light, dark, tapered, untapered, and more, as well as combinations of these. To use combinations, switch back and forth, and draw confident lines, we need to train the muscles in our fingers, hands, and arms. So let's start the training. Before we begin, I'd like to quickly showcase the digital brushes I'll be using and share some settings for those interested. If this isn't relevant to you, feel free to skip ahead. You can use any drawing tool, digital brush, or software you have on hand. I'm using a Wacom Cintiq 22 with the Pro Pen 2 for my drawing. Down here you can see my pen tip sensitivity setting. You can adjust it from soft to hard, and mine is set closer to soft. This pen features an eraser at the back end, and its sensitivity is set slightly softer than that of my pen tip. I'm using Clip Studio Paint version 3.2. To adjust your pen pressure sensitivity, go to File, and then Pen Pressure Settings. Mine is set like this. I can either adjust the curve of the graph manually by dragging the anchor points and checking the results on the canvas. Or I can opt for automatic adjustment by drawing on the canvas while deliberately varying the pen pressure. I'll be using either a pencil brush or an ink brush for all of the following exercises. Here are the two pencil brushes that I'm using. The creator of these brushes offers them for free if you're interested. I've included a link in the description box, but please note that they can only be used in Clip Studio Paint. Just click the link and scroll down to the free pencil set. I quickly test the brush by doodling with stabilization both off and on to observe its behavior. I pay attention to any wobbly strokes or unexpected results. Depending on your device, stylus, and occasionally the brush itself, your strokes may not always align perfectly with your hand movements. While I'm open to using stabilizers, I will disable stabilization on my pencil brushes for the upcoming exercises. Lines can be drawn using the movement of your fingers, hand and wrist, or your arm and shoulders. For short lines and intricate details, using your fingers, hand, or wrist will provide you with more control. In our first exercise, we will focus on line orientation by using our fingers, hand, or wrist to draw short lines. We will practice drawing the same lines 3 times, each time holding the pen at a different position: the front, the middle, and the back. Repeat the process, but this time hold the pen in the middle. Draw each line starting at the top and going down, trying to keep the gaps between the lines somewhat similar. Repeat the process, and this time, hold the pen at the back. Next, we will draw vertical lines again, but this time we will start at the bottom and go up. From this point on, I will speed up the video a little. We will continue drawing straight lines, but after each set, we will change the direction of the lines. To create beautiful and confident lines, you need not only good hand control, but also a familiarity with your drawing tools, whether it's your chosen instrument or your hand and arm. Discover which hand movements and arm positions come naturally to you. Feel comfortable and establish a rhythm that works for you while also identifying those that do not. While you can rotate the paper or canvas to draw at a comfortable angle, there will be times when that isn't an option, or may be too time-consuming and impractical. Therefore, it's beneficial to practice drawing lines in any direction from a fixed angle, and to understand how to position your hand or arm to produce the lines you need. You can do these exercises whenever you want to familiarize yourself with a new drawing tool. It's all about getting to know your medium and understanding how to hold and use your drawing tool to achieve the results you desire. Through repeated practice, you will develop muscle memory in your hands and arms, allowing you to perform these tasks effortlessly. The reason it appears so effortless when a professional performs a task is that they have done it thousands of times. If you are drawing digitally, you may notice that depending on the brush, you might not achieve dark lines when holding the stylus at the back, or you may get lighter or thicker lines due to the tilt. As I mentioned, this exercise is also about getting to know your tool and figuring out what works and what doesn't. Next, we repeat the process, but this time we start with lines that are close together and gradually widen the gap between them. As you do this, try to use the same amount of pressure for each line. This exercise is not about speed. It requires focus, so proceed at a pace that feels comfortable for you. If you are drawing traditionally, you can also try these exercises using pencils of different hardness, ballpoint pens, fountain pens, dip pen nibs, and so forth. Keep in mind that some pens don't perform well when used at a tilted angle, so be sure to adjust the exercises accordingly. When using a traditional pencil, you might also want to experiment with its length. This can vary from person to person, but a longer pencil may provide more stability and control, and the added length and weight can help produce certain types of lines. You can use a pencil extender or simply glue a used pencil to a new one with super glue, as Japanese animators often do. This method is not only helpful, but it also enables you to use your pencils until they are completely used up. There are even pencil extenders designed to hold a pencil at both ends. Basic exercises like these are excellent for improving your skills, but they don't mean you should limit yourself to just drawing lines. You don't need to master them before moving on to more enjoyable projects. Use these exercises as a warm-up. Incorporate them into your own artwork or practice them on the side. Keep it fun and don't be afraid of failure. I also recommend dating each exercise and drawing so you can track your progress over time. I hope the bonus exercises in this and upcoming videos will inspire you to find interesting ways to practice. Next, we will practice transitioning from dark to light by decreasing the pen pressure. Keep in mind that this is not about speed. Stay focused and go at a pace that suits you best. For those of you who are new to digital drawing, keep in mind that drawing lines digitally can feel different from using a traditional pencil on paper due to factors like your device, stylus, and drawing surface. I don't use paper-like screen protectors, so I'm drawing on a very smooth surface. For me, achieving the same level of line control digitally as I do traditionally has been, and still is, challenging. Although minimal, the tiny gap between the tip of your stylus and the actual canvas created by the screen glass can create a disconnect between your eyes, hands, and the canvas. Additionally, when using your hand or the entire drawing device at certain angles, the stylus may behave differently or less precisely. There are many factors that can make it difficult to produce clean lines. For that reason, I'm not opposed to taking advantage of the stabilization settings. I don't use them unless necessary, but sometimes they are essential. I apply stabilization on the G Pen when I need line art with smooth lines. Again, it's important to get to know your tools and discover how to get the most out of them. This process might take time and experimentation. Brushes with settings that work for me may not work for you. You don't need to find the perfect pen with the ideal settings before you start practicing. You will figure things out along the way. Sometimes, having too many choices can be counterproductive. If finding the right brush is preventing you from practicing, just choose one that you already have and feels the most comfortable for your purposes, and take the time to get to know it. Now let's draw vertical lines close together. Start by holding the pencil at the front, then move to holding it in the middle, and finally switch to holding it at the back. Remember, the change in grip doesn't need to be swift. Take a moment to pause while adjusting your hold. This exercise is designed to help your hand become accustomed to changing grips, which is often necessary while drawing. Next, let's draw horizontal lines, varying their lengths randomly. Horizontal lines can sometimes feel uncomfortable to draw if you don't rotate the paper. Experiment with different arm positions and hand angles to find what feels most comfortable for you. Now let's do the same vertically. This should be easier and will continue to keep the lines generally short. Next, draw something that resembles a wood pattern. Use slightly curved lines and vary the lengths between short and longer lines. Make sure the lines fit together while allowing for variation in the distance between them. Now let's do some cross-hatching by combining all the lines we practiced earlier: vertical, horizontal, and diagonal. You can draw the lines from left to right or right to left, and from top to bottom or vice versa. Try to add a bit of speed while drawing these. Great! Now let's play with speed. Start by drawing a few short, straight lines slowly, focusing on precision. Next, increase your speed slightly and draw lines that taper at the end. Finally, draw a few lines at an even faster pace, ensuring they taper at both ends. Before we move on to the final, more enjoyable exercise in this video, let me quickly explain how to produce tapered lines. I assume we all know how to draw non-tapered, blunt-ended lines. To draw a line that ends in a tapered or feathered stroke, apply pressure at the beginning and gradually decrease both the pressure and surface contact as you approach the end of the line, lifting your pencil completely off the paper. This technique can be achieved with both slow and fast strokes. When drawing digitally, some brushes may make it challenging to create tapered lines. You might be able to resolve this issue by adjusting the brush settings, but it can also depend on other factors, such as whether your stylus or device supports pen pressure sensitivity, or if your software requires an additional plugin. If you're unable to produce tapered lines, there may be technical causes and solutions to consider. When you want your line to be tapered at both ends, your hand needs to be in motion the whole time. This means your hand should begin the motion of the line before the tip of your pen touches the paper. You can practice this by making the hand gesture above the paper a few times, without your pen making contact, and then by touching the paper with the tip of your pen while in mid-motion. Try this with slow motions at first, and once you've got it, gradually increase the speed. Okay, let's get to our final exercise. To further practice line orientation and tapered lines, we will use this coloring page to add texture and shading. You can find the download link in the description box below. If you draw traditionally, print it out. If you draw digitally, import it into your drawing software and create the lines on a new layer above the image. I will draw everything without rotating the canvas or zooming in. However, I will zoom into the areas I'm working on during editing so you can see the lines better. I will keep the entire exercise at its original speed. In my next video about the basics of drawing, we will continue exploring lines, building upon what we've practiced here. We'll also tackle the challenge of drawing hair strands later on, still within the topic of lines, as many people find this difficult. We'll take it one step at a time, so I hope you'll commit and stick around. And we're done! Let's have a look at this fairy house with and without our lines. That's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed the content. If you did, I'd appreciate a thumbs up or a comment. To stay updated on future uploads, please consider subscribing and don't forget to hit the notification bell. Thank you for watching.